What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with another video. Now it's time for Extreme Rules as the WWE presents 6 big matches including 5 title bouts. And it was a pretty interesting night with big botches, a big return, and a spooky finish. Was the show actually extreme, or should this just have been called regular rules? Well, join us now as we recap Extreme Rules and analyze the show for the good, the bad, and the downright ugly. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now we start off with the pre-show as AJ Styles and Omos are backstage when the New Day arrive. Lashley then runs in and a wild brawl ensues until WWE officials are able to restore order. Later in the show, a 6-man match is then announced between the New Day and the trio of AJ Styles, Omos and Bobby Lashley. Damn, we wish the Hurt Business was still around. I mean, they should have been the match. The Queen Charlotte Flair then shows up at the arena in style with the Raw Women's Championship arriving in a stretch limo, just like her daddy who the WWE have now removed. The Street Profits show up backstage and they're not in a good mood. Angelo Dawkins tells Ford that he's got his back and it won't be a 3-on-1 like SmackDown. We then get the pre-show match, which is Liv Morgan versus Carmella. Carmella cuts a promo on Morgan telling her, "I'm hot and you're not." Morgan then attacks her, showing no mercy until Carmella gets the upper hand outside the ring. It's back and forth that sees a spill outside the ring again, but Liv blocks her super kick and throws Mella face first into the announce desk. The two are then back in the ring and Liv finishes things off with the Oblivion, getting the 1-2-3 and winning the match. Now we then move on to the main show, and it's kind of funny at this point as a number of viewers on Peacock are now hearing Spanish commentary over the English commentary, and some were even hearing French afterwards. Well, more on that later, but the opening match is the 6-man tag match between the New Day of Kofi Kingston, Champion Big E and Xavier Woods versus AJ Styles, Omos and Lashley. The New Day utilize their teamwork to gain the initial advantage, but when the heels isolate Kingston, they begin wearing their dreadlock dynamo down and knock Woods off the apron, taking him out of the match. Kofi then desperately throws Lashley out of the ring, but a wily Lashley pulls Big E off the mat apron and beats him down, leaving Kofi on his own again. However, then Woods finally gets back on the apron as Kofi makes the hot tag. Woods utilizes his speed, but his momentum doesn't last long. Lashley goes for a superplex on Woods, but Woods knocks him off the ropes and stuns him with a missile dropkick, giving him all the time he needs to make the tag. In comes Big E as a tag is made then to Styles. Lashley gets ready to end the match, but AJ makes the tag. Lashley tags in and accidentally spears Styles after Big E avoids a phenomenal forearm. Big E then takes the advantage of the misunderstanding, hitting a big ending to Lashley. Suddenly, the Almighty isn't so mighty, counting the lights as his team loses. Next up, it's the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match as the Usos take on the Street Profits. Montez Ford's ribs are taped, the results of the beating he took on SmackDown. To no one's surprise, the Usos isolate Ford, targeting his ribs and even unwrapping the tape so they can hurt him further. The Usos dish out more damage to Ford, but he manages to make the hot tag to Dawkins. From there, it's a seesaw battle as neither team can either put one away. At one point, Ford hits a flying body splash but does just as much damage to his injured ribs as he does his opponent. The Usos then go for a double super kick on Ford, but Dawkins takes the blow. Now with Angelo out of action, the numbers game catches up with Ford and the Usos hit a double Uso splash for the win and retain the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Now backstage there's an angry Bobby Lashley who challenges Big E to a championship match on Raw. Next up, it's the Raw Women's Championship match as Champion Charlotte Flair takes on Alexa Bliss. Now Flair relies on her wrestling skills, but Bliss counters with her own skills with a vicious streak. It looks like this match could go to a draw, but Flair shows her championship mentality by resorting to mind games of her own. Flair then whips Bliss into the unforgiving ring ropes and lands a natural selection. Flair gets the Duke and retains the Raw Women's Championship. After a win, the Queen destroys Lily, posing with the doll's remains and her championship. Alexa then attacks Charlotte, but the champ makes short work of her. Flair leaves and Bliss enters the ring, witnessing what's left of her demon doll. A "Thank you Lily" chant breaks out as Alexa screams, taking Lily's remains with her. No, we're not making this up, this actually happened. And there was quite an odd moment where Bliss had an Alka-Seltzer in her mouth that didn't actually quite fizzle out. It was kinda weird. Obviously it was a big botch as her mouth was supposed to foam with the Alka-Seltzer. And then Paul Heyman is seen backstage on the phone with someone discussing the WWE draft. Kayla Braxton sneaks up, eavesdropping until Heyman realizes that she's there. Heyman asks Braxton if she's jealous he's talking with another journalist or even another woman. Heyman then says he may be talking with Brock Lesnar, and if so, why not? As special counsel to the tribal chief, he has to cover all bases. Next up, it's a triple threat match for the US Championship as champion Damian Priest takes on Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Sheamus lays out Jeff with a brogue kick as the match begins, sending him out of the ring. The Celtic Warrior's attempts to take Priest out prove less successful, however, as Priest beats him in and out of the ring. Jeff then soon joins the fray, and it's a classic triple threat match with all three superstars fighting to neutralize one opponent so they can defeat another. A number of suspenseful near falls that end when Sheamus gets out of a roll-up by Hardy, only for Priest to roll up the Celtic Warrior for the 1-2-3, and Damian Priest retains the US Championship. Then we move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship match as Becky Lynch takes on Bianca Belair. The EST dominates much of the match, but Becky bounces back. Despite Lynch's experience advantage, she can't put Bianca away. Likewise, Belair's strength advantage isn't enough for a decisive win. Instead, both women end up whittling away at each other until things break down into a bare-knuckled brawl. Becky counters a roll-up into a disarmer, but Bianca counters into a KOD, but before she can get the win, Sasha Banks runs in, laying out Belair. Bianca Belair wins, but only by disqualification, so Becky Lynch retains the belt. And then finally, it's time for the main event as it's an Extreme Rules match, finally, for the Universal Championship as champion Roman Reigns takes on the Demon Finn Balor. Now, the Demon proves to be arguably Reigns' most dangerous opponent yet, as the Tribal Chief really can't put him away despite utilizing tables, chairs and even kendo sticks. Oh, and it was pretty cool to see Roman actually put on a mask when he was actually wrestling in the crowd. I know some of you might think this is over the top, but then again, Reigns did have cancer. The Demon kicks out of Reigns' pin attempt and low blows Roman. Things look bleak when the Demon hits the coup de grace. However, when the Usos grab the Demon out of the ring and beat him down, the Demon isn't done though, and he counterattacks, powerbombing one of the Usos through the announce desk. However, Roman has recovered by now and spears the Demon right through the barricade. The lights turn red though as Balor seems to be coming back to life, laying out Reigns again and going for the coup de grace again. Inexplicably, the top rope breaks and Balor falls off, injuring his leg. Obviously the work of God getting his revenge on the Demon. Reigns then spears the Demon and is barely able to cover him, retaining the title. After the match, Reigns looks puzzled as he wonders what caused his incredible stroke of luck. That's something the WWE will hopefully explain and not leave in the realm of who threw the pie at Kevin Owens. But that was a quick recap of the show. Now let's move on to the good, the bad and the downright ugly. And as always, we start off with the good as number 1, Liv wins. Liv Morgan got a big win not because she defeated perennial loser Carmella, but because the WWE has spent time building an undercard program for her and Morgan to put on a good match with the fans clearly getting behind her. That's far too early to tell if the WWE has anything planned for her, but she's done her part both in the ring and on the mic. Now it's up for the WWE to see if the fans want to see Morgan move up the ladder. Number 2, another awesome opener. Now, it never hurts to start a pay-per-view match with a strong opening match, and tonight's impromptu 6-man tag match between the New Day and the team of Styles, Omos and Lashley was an action-packed affair that had the New Day wondering how their favorite trio would overcome the tremendous power disadvantage. The New Day did triumph thanks to their years of experience and some miscommunication from their rivals. Number 3, McAfee Mox. Peacock's incredible record of technical troubles continued. I mean, seriously, has a pay-per-view ever gone smoothly on the Peacock network? As the French and Spanish announce feeds spilled over into the American broadcast. However, Pat McAfee made the most of the opportunity, peppering his commentary with French and Spanish, proving why he has quickly become a fan-favorite announcer. Number 4, a tantalizing tag team trope. Now, the Street Profits vs Uso match was largely what fans expected, with both teams putting in a strong performance. However, the WWE kicked it old school by utilizing the trope of an injured tag partner, in this case Montez Ford dealing with damaged ribs, trying to overcome his injury and his heel opponents naturally capitalizing on it. With Ford portrayed as damaged goods, the Street Profits kept their credibility despite their loss, and Ford looked gutsy as he attempted his flying body splash, knowing full well it could hurt him as much as it did his opponent. This title match featured strong storytelling, and in doing so set things up for a rematch where fans will wonder what might happen if the Street Profits face the Usos at 100%. Number 5, rest in peace Lily. Is Lily dead? Well, let's hope so, as Alexa Bliss's fiend-like gimmick was weak enough before she added her intelligence-insulting doll to her act. Having Charlotte destroy Lily is no guarantee we've seen the last of it, but it would be a great opportunity to focus on retooling Bliss's character, either focusing on making it darker without insulting the fans' intelligence, or having her ditch the character altogether. And number 6, Roman's rabbit. Is a rabbit's foot good luck? If so, Roman must have had a colony's worth with him tonight as he hung on to his Universal Championship with what appeared to be a freak accident, which of course will come out as something more. Whatever the case, it was a clever way to keep Reigns' title around his waist while showing the tribal chief isn't invulnerable. But that was good. What about the bad? As number 1, big match, but bad build. I'll leave it to the WWE to add a phenomenal 6-man match to start the show without any build-up. While there's something to be said for a match that seems to develop organically, something this big should have been hyped on Raw, as it clearly is being used to build a rematch between Lashley and champion Big E. Number 2, Lashley the loser. There was absolutely no reason for the WWE to have Lashley lose another match by pinfall. They've invested far too much time building Lashley up as the Almighty, and his loss on Raw along with tonight's loss is not the way to book a monster heel. And number 3, an extreme disappointment. Now, the WWE let the universe down big time tonight, taking its supposed stipulation stuff show and giving the fans just one stipulation match. As we've discussed before, no one was looking forward to a Wyatt Swamp match or an Eye for an Eye match like last year's show, but don't book a show that's supposed to feature stipulation matches and ignore it. Regardless of how good tonight's matches were, the WWE should have either changed the name or thrown in at least 2 more stipulation matches. Now, there was nothing downright ugly about this pay-per-view. It did deliver despite the lack of stipulations for the traditionally stipulation-heavy show. In fact, we think WWE have really painted themselves into a corner with these gimmick pay-per-views. But every match told a story and advanced storylines not only for tonight's pay-per-view, but for also this week's television. It's a refreshing and remarkable change, and one that hopefully will improve the WWE's product. It's clear the WWE's competition from AEW and Monday Night Football is giving it reason to jumpstart the product, as tonight's pre-show even featured some segments to build up the event rather than throwing in a match amongst an hour of talking heads and hyping videos. But what do you guys think of Extreme Rules? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.